Alright, this is Unit 5, Lesson 5, talking about finding slope. Okay, your one objective is to identify and write the slope of a line from a graph and from 2 points. So put a little picture of a skier here because when you think about slopes, like hitting the slopes going skiing, okay, we're talking about hills, uphill, downhill, that kind of stuff. Okay, slope is a very important thing to know about a line because it can help you in a lot of ways when we go into graphing and stuff. Alright, so let's go into some finding slope examples. First thing is, what tools can you use to help you find the slope of a line or the slope of 2 points? Okay, one thing that we're going to teach you is called the slope formula, and it's right here. Okay, there's 2 different ways to write it. This is the one you need to know. Okay, I'll just read you this one. This little sign is supposed to be a little triangle. It's called a delta in math. It means change. So this is the change in y over the change in x. Okay, so how does y change over how does x change? And this formula you need to know is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you're going to have 2 ordered pairs, okay? An ordered pair that will go together here, an x and a y, and an ordered pair that will go together here. So you'll have the second y minus the first y over the second x minus the first x. And that's the same as change in y over change in x. But you need to know this to know how to find it. Or the way to find it from a graph is called rise over run. Okay, meaning rise tells you up or down, and run tells you how to go to the right. Okay, again, rise up or down, run to the right. So let's go ahead and look at when we're going to use these. Alright, so a lot of stuff going on this slide here, so let's talk through this. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the steps over here. When you're trying to find a slope, okay, the first thing that you should do is pick 2 points from the line. Okay, and you want to make sure that the points you pick are both the points are crossed by 2 grid lines. What that means is I don't want to pick a point that's in the middle of my grid right here, okay, or in the middle of the grid here, because I don't know exactly what those numbers are. Okay, so if I put a point right here in the middle of this, well, that's -1, -2, -3, and maybe a half, and then down a half, but I don't know for sure. Okay, so I want to pick points that are crossed right in the middle of grid lines. So if I'm looking at points, I'm looking at maybe like this one up here. Whoops, I should probably erase that and try that again. Sorry, we're off a little bit. This one right here. Okay, that's crossed by the 2 grid lines. Okay, then you need to look and find another one that you know for sure is. Well, this one looks like it's close, but it's not quite there. This one, not there. And if I go down my line, okay, I would say that for sure, probably this one right here is. Okay, so we'll go with this one as our other point right here to pick. Okay, then you want to calculate the rise first. And that goes on top because slope is rise over run. Sorry, there should be a little over sign here. Rise over run. So we're going to calculate the rise. So I'm just going to count how do I move up or down from this point to this point. Now here's a key thing here, right here. You always read the lines like you read a book from left to right. So I want to know how do I move from the left point to the right point. Okay? Well, I need to go, let's see, I've got to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my rise is 5. And it's positive because I'm going up. Okay, if I go up, it's a positive rise. Then I'm going to calculate the run. That's always how do I go to the right. That's always going to be a positive number because to the right is positive. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right. So my slope is positive 5 over positive 6, or just positive 5/6. And there's a variable that we always use for slope, and that variable is m. Okay? So m equals 5/6. Now we need to make sure our fraction is in simplest form, which it is. I can't simplify that at all. Okay, and now notice this is positive. Up here it says lines with a positive slope go uphill. Okay, so if I look at this line and I read it like a book from left to right, I'm going uphill when I go from left to right. So it's got a positive slope. Alright, let's go on to some more examples. Okay, so again, find the slope of this line. We want to find 2 points that cross the grid lines exactly. Now again, on my iPad I might get off a little bit, but we'll find one maybe right here. That looks about right. Okay, and then if we keep going down, we'll say right here is another good one to use. Okay? Well, now again, first thing we want to do is calculate the rise, meaning how do I go from my left point to my right point here? Well, this time I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. Okay, when I go down, that's a -6. Alright, so my rise is -6. And then my run, how far do I go over? To the right. Well, I go over 1, 2, 3 to the right. So my slope is -6/3. Well, that reduces, that's not done yet. Okay, -6/3 is the same as -2. So my slope is -2 or -2/1. Okay, either way. And if you look up here, lines with a negative slope go downhill. Well, this line has a negative slope and it's going down from left to right. Okay, again, read it like a book, left to right. So from here to here, I'm going downhill. It's got a negative slope. Now, another thing that you should know about slope is that my slope should not change on my line ever. So if I go down 6 and over 3, I should be able to do that again and get to another point on a line. So if this line continued, I should be able to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and over 1, 2, 3, and the line should cross right here. Or my slope is -2/1, meaning I should be able to go down 2 and over 1. So if I go on my line down 2 and over 1, I'm still on the line. And then down 2 more and over 1, I'm still on the line. Down 2 over 1, still on the line. Okay? Or if I went up 2 and back 1, I should still be on the line. Now you'll notice when I get to this point right here, the slope starts, or the line starts to get a little bit off. So you'll notice this is kind of an inexact science. Okay? I mean, it's hard to be exact on these graphs when they don't cross necessarily exactly. So when you do your book assignment or your quiz, okay, you may be a little off what I got, and I'll give you a little leeway on that. Okay, a little wiggle room, I like to call it. I mean, if your answer is off by like a number, I'll probably give you credit, just because sometimes it's hard to find a point that's exactly on the line like you need to, especially on the test, okay, or a quiz. On the book assignments, it shouldn't be too difficult. Alright, let's keep going with some more slope. And a good thing to get used to always kind of check yourself to make sure your slopes are right, or just to be able to look at the line and tell, is it going to be a positive or a negative slope? Alright, well, if I look at the blue line, okay, again, read it from left to right. Going from here to here, this goes downhill. So that should be a negative slope. Okay, my green line. When I look at the green line going from left to right, it goes uphill. So what kind of slope should that be? That should be a positive slope. And my black line goes downhill, so that should be a negative slope. And my pink line goes uphill, so that should be a positive slope. And that's a good thing to be able to self-check, okay, because if when I solve for the slope of this blue line, if I got a positive number, I know that has to be wrong and my algebra is off, okay, my work is off somewhere, because just by looking at this I should be able to tell that it's a negative slope. Alright, so that's just a good thing to start doing, to self-check, to check and see what kind of slope you should have, positive or negative. Alright, let's move on some more. So let's look at another line here, okay? We want to know, is this a positive slope or a negative slope? So the first question we have to ask is, does this line go uphill or downhill? Well, you'll notice it goes side to side, so it goes neither uphill nor downhill. Okay, what is the rise? I mean, how do I move up or down from point to point? Well, if I pick a point here and a point here, I don't move up or down at all. So my rise is 0. Okay? Well, my run when I go from point to point can change. Right now, between these 2 points, my run is 1, 2, 3. Okay, if I pick 2 different points, it could be 1, 2, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if I go from this point to that point, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or 6, sorry. Okay, so my run changes. So I could pick between the two lines, but the run changes. Okay, it's not consistent. Well, when that happens, my slope, okay, is 0. This line has 0 slope. Okay? Or no slope. Okay? It's a flat line. It goes straight side to side. It's kind of like a street or sidewalk. Okay? There's no slope here. So, horizontal lines, these are called, ones that go side to side, always have a slope of 0 or no slope. So, horizontal lines have a slope of 0 or no slope. Okay, so we don't need to calculate the rise and run for those. Okay, I got a slope of 0, there's no slope. Let's go on to another type of line. Let's look at vertical lines now. Okay, again, now let's look at this vertical line I got. This is straight up and down line. Does it go uphill or downhill? Well, let's pick 2 points on the line. Does it go uphill or downhill? Well, it depends. If I start at the bottom point, it goes uphill, and if I start at this point, it goes downhill. So really, it goes neither. Okay, it's not uphill or downhill. What is the rise? Well, on this one, the rise from this point between these 2 points changes. Okay, so the rise can change. And the run. Well, if I run from this point to this point, I don't move side to side, so my run is 0. And so what is the slope? Well, we've got something that changes over 0, the rise over the run. And there's a big problem here. You guys see what that is? If this was a fraction, let's say the number up here is 4. This would say 4 divided by 0. So the problem is I can't divide by 0. It is impossible. Okay, so we say that this kind of line, the slope is undefined because I can't divide by 0. So a vertical line has a slope of undefined. So horizontal lines have a slope of 0 or no slope, and then vertical lines, slope is always undefined. Again, notice I'm still putting m equals here for the slope. Alright, so those are special cases for special kinds of lines. Alright, let's keep on going.